Hello there. Thank you for stopping by. With May being sweeps month, guessing the streamers are taking a bit of a breather. Though I did have a few shows I am excited to see, over half would have been either seasons on my to get caught up list or wildcard picks. However, one show did aspire this month's theme: The Walking Dead, Dead City. The Walking Dead series is based on a comic book series. Graphic novels are an amazing medium. I see them as a bridge between the written word, prose, and the visual medium, TV and movies. If you think about it, the sequential art of comic books are storyboards used to make our favorite TV shows and movies, only with the dialogue and descriptions written in. So I got to thinking, how many other live-action shows are from graphic novels? Turns out, a lot, especially within the last decade or so. Many were shows I loved. Shocking, I know. This list originally started with 87 shows, which I'd whittled down to the 13 shows we're talking about today. With some caveats. I opted to leave out obvious shows like The Boys, Daredevil, and Smallville. Instead, I aimed for shows which made me go, "What? That's based on a comic?" And sprinkled in some true diamonds in the rough. What are they? Let's dive in and find out.
They call this a demilitarized zone. This ain't no neutral territory.
Finding new currency in a war-ravaged world starts off this month's list, DMZ. We're going to bookend this list by shows which are inspired by their comic book counterparts. Though in the same setting between the TV show and graphic novel, the protagonist we follow is different. DMZ is from DC's Vertigo imprint, written by Brian Wood with art by Riccardo Brachetti, and follows Maddie Roth, a photojournalist, whose visit to the DMZ immediately goes terribly wrong. The show follows Ama Ortega, portrayed by Rosario Dawson, who enters the DMZ to find and get her son out. The world is the same. Manhattan Island is a lawless demilitarized zone, DMZ, between two factions of a second civil war, the U.S. government and the Free States. Manhattan itself is run by warlords vying for power and control over scarce resources. Though the series doesn't follow the same protagonist, we do get some crossover characters, like Wilson. You can brave the world of the DMZ through Max.
Great merge cannot be stopped.
The 12th installment is Possessed, Outcast. Originally published by Image Comics from Robert Kirkman, yes, the Walking Dead guy, with art by Paul Azaceta and Elizabeth Breitweiser. Outcast is a particularly brutal and harrowing horror series. It follows Kyle Barnes, who has been plagued by supernatural events and possession since his childhood. Taking place in Rome, West Virginia, Kyle works to figure out why. His quest unearths some dark forces, set on doing not-so-good things to the physical world. Not only does he need to figure out a way to stop them, but also wrestle with his inner demons, literally. Outcast also boasts Brett Spinner, who portrays the creepy Sydney in a very contrasting role to Trek's Data. Both neck-hair-raising seasons of Outcast are available on Cinemax.
For your personal safety, be prepared to brace.
Chilling out in the 11th spot is Snowpiercer. Titan Comics originally published this series by Alex Noland and John Mark Roche. Set in a post-apocalyptic world where the entire Earth has frozen over, Snowpiercer follows remnants of human civilization who live on a train which never stops. On paper, pun intended, the concept seems pretty far-fetched. How can you make a story of people on a train be interesting for multiple seasons? However, John and Mark set up a solid blueprint because the show ran for 4 seasons, and I personally was enthralled with each of them. From Snowpiercer's founder, Mr. Wilson, and its stringent class structure, to the tailies, stowaways, at the bottom of the social order, to the quest for a livable area outside the train, to the origins of the events which caused the world to freeze in the first place. Snowpiercer is a show which exceeds expectations. Get your ticket punched for all 4 seasons on AMC+.
Destiny's the one doing the folding, fella, and we are her origami swans.
Spoon! The Tick jumps into the 10th installment this month. Ben Edmond originally brought us this hilarious gem via New England Comics Press. The Tick is a satire of the superhero genre and follows main protagonist, the nigh invulnerable Tick, whose worldview is out of sync with reality. He enlists the help of his unwilling sidekick Arthur, who acquires a moth supersuit. The Tick comic inspired an equally hilarious cartoon and 2 TV shows, the most recent from Prime Video. Sadly, the TV show did not feature my favorite villain from the cartoon, El Cid. However, it did nail many of the off-kilter and sane elements from the Tick source material, which will have you laughing to tears. Both seasons of The Tick Fight Evil on Prime Video.
I've got a deceased male with a gunshot wound to the head.
Number 9 sends us blissfully down a rabbit hole. Bodies. Another one from DC's Vertigo by Cy Spencer, Lee Lowridge, and Demi Ciente. Bodies follows the events of 4 detectives who discover the same body decades apart. They are D.I. Alfred Hellinghead from 1890, D.S. Charles Whiteman from 1941, D.S. Shahar Hassan 1923, and D.S. Iris Maplewood 2053. If any one of these was sole protagonist, it would have made for a great show. Each of the detectives' lives begin to spiral out of control after the discovery of the body, as interests either directly or indirectly tied to the lives take notice. As the series progresses, the events in each timeline overlap. By the time the final minutes of the final episode finishes, your mind will be very happily blown. Drop into Bodies on Netflix.
What have I missed?
Oh, the usual action, adventure, thrilling escapes.
Finding Memory is Overrated comes in at number 8, Dark Matter. What is a showrunner to do if they can't get their show made? Why, make a comic book, of course. That is precisely what Joseph Malazzi from Stargate did with writer Paul Muley and artist Gary Brown and Ryan Hill via Dark Horse Books. Dark Matter follows 4 strangers who awake in a derelict starship without any memories. They opt to name themselves in the order they woke up, 1 through 6. As the series progresses, they learn more about who they were, and some not necessarily liking their old selves. They also work out who wiped their memories and why. Dark Matter takes what would be a typical spaceship adventure and weaves in some fun and interesting elements. Though originally aired on Sci-Fi, all 3 seasons of Dark Matter are currently syndicated on the CW.
Why is no one stopping?
Probably because you've got your tits out.
Punching dads in the face is a good place to start. Number 7, The End of the F***ing World. One of the most cutting-edge independent publishers is Fantagraphics. And from here, writer-artist Charles Foreman originally brought The End of the F***ing World to life. This dark comedy follows sociopathic teen James, who opts to use anti-establishment Alyssa as his first human kill. When Alyssa decides to skip town, James, like any red-blooded teen, gives his dad a right hook and steals his car. Thus begins their awkward, tragic road trip. The show nails the intertwining narratives of James and Alyssa from the comic by swapping between voiceovers. Catch the nihilistic, twisted, yet heartfelt coming-of-age story on Netflix.
Get out, we're going. Where? Save the world.
Oh, is that all?
Number 6 is The Cause and Solution, Good Enough Workaround to World-Ending Crisis, The Umbrella Academy. This brilliant fable comes to us from Gerard Way, a la My Chemical Romance, and artist Gabrielle Ba via Dark Horse Books. From the bare bones premise, where 43 women get pregnant and give birth in a single day, the Umbrella Academy proves to be a bit surreal and interesting. 5 of the 6 surviving family members, the 6th being a ghost only Klaus can see, attend their father's funeral. From that moment, we learn they're a whole new level of dysfunctional family. So much so, they find themselves just days away from total world annihilation, while at the same time discovering they are either directly or indirectly the root cause of said annihilation. At the end of the 3rd season, it ended at a good stopping point. I was sad, but satisfied. Then, we did get a fantastic final 4th season last year. I rejoiced, with the exception of the shark song. That still stuck in my head. Join the academies, both Umbrella and Sparrow, on Netflix.
Violence makes nothing much at all.
Not teaching by example is number 5, Preacher. Originally published by Vertigo, Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon gave us one hell of a boundary-pushing, dark satire. So much so, when I heard AMC was producing the live-action version, I had my doubts. By the end of the first episode, those doubts were quelled. Preacher follows Jesse Custer, a small-town preacher with a less than scrupulous past, who is given the voice of God. Thing is, he doesn't want it. So Jesse, along with Tulip and the vampire Cassidy, set out on a road trip to find God and learn what's what. The series does feature many of the elements which made the comic great, including Arseface's hellish journey, the unstoppable Saint of Killers, and Hair Star, a literal dickhead. All 4 seasons of this divine adventure are available on AMC+.
These aren't toys. They're weapons.
Never trust your echo. Number 4, Locke Key. IDW Publishing brought us this fantastic series from Joe Hill, Stephen King's son, and Gabriel Rodriguez. Part modern fantasy, part horror, part coming of age, Locke Key has it all. The story primarily follows the Locke kids, who move into their late father's home, known as Key House. The youngest Bode soon discovers keys hidden throughout the house. Each key has a specific power, like the fire key, time key, or astral plane key, and they whisper their presence when they want to be found. Older siblings, Kinsey and Tyler, can also hear the keys, but their mom and uncle, as adults, are deaf to the keys' whispers. Things turn dangerous when Bode is tricked into releasing Echo from her imprisonment at the Locke House well. She wants the power of the keys and has no qualms with who she has to kill to get them. Unlock all 3 seasons of Locke & Key on Netflix.
That little dude's got hope coming out of every pore.
Some stories have a beginning, and Sweet Tooth begins at number 3. Writer-artist Jeff Lemire tapped a fantastic vein with this Vertigo series, and executive producers Susan and Robert Downey Jr. assembled the perfect animal army to bring it to life. Sweet Tooth seamlessly embodies the best elements of what makes great fantasies. In a post-apocalyptic world, when a disease wipes out most of human civilization, Gus is the first of a new breed of animal-human hybrids who are immune. His fable of loss and quest to find his mother is just the tip of the iceberg. His greatest ally, Big Man, is a formidable protector. Wendy is a kindred spirit, while Bear of the Animal Army is a ferocious embodiment of acceptance of the hybrids. Their antagonists can be an extreme of evil or fall into the morally gray realm, as with Dr. Singh. Treat yourself to all 3 seasons of Sweet Tooth on Netflix.
We tell ourselves that we are the Walking Dead.
Number 2 is most definitely Type A, The Walking Dead. I can't help but wonder when Robert Kirkman convinced Image Comics to publish a zombie comic book with artists Charles Oddard, Cliff Rathron, and Tony Moore, did he know what was to come? Or was he a comic book nerd who liked zombies? The Walking Dead is huge. 11 seasons, 5 spin-off series, 3 of which are still airing, is no small feat. Don't know about y'all, but Walking Dead was a Sunday staple for years. Premiering in 2010, The Walking Dead in many ways pioneered the modern era of comic book adaptations. From character development over episodes and seasons, to camera frames matching panels on the page, to embracing and developing upon the source material plot arcs. This show also delivered on character tension astonishingly well. Any Walking Dead character could die in any episode. If you're one of the people who fell off during the final seasons, highly recommend bridging that gap. Those last few seasons on AMC Plus are exceptional.
I help people open their minds.
Saying thank you when receiving compliments on your amygdala is the top pick this month, Legion. David Charles Haller was created by Chris Claremont and artist Bill Sienkiewicz back in 1985. He is a powerful telepath with dissociative identity disorder. Yeah, from the get-go, he's been a wild character. Legion premiered on FX in 2017. Noah Hawley brought not only one of the best X-Men adaptations, but also one of the most magnificent shows to illuminate my TV screen. Dan Stevens portrayed David Haller brilliantly. The show embraced the fact that the title character is insane. It whisked you through an increasingly surreal world as Legion's mental stability deteriorates. The obscurity of his enemies are only matched by even more bizarre allies. To David, though, it is normal, so the show packages it as such. Melt your mind with all 3 seasons of Legion on Hulu. And that's a wrap. Don't know about you all, but I for one added to my reading list and watch list significantly. Felt myself wanting to rewatch each of these shows as I was editing them. I am very aware that the 87 shows I originally pulled from is nowhere close to being a complete list. Likely we'll be revisiting this month's theme at some point in the future. Please comment with your faves from this list, or let me know if I missed a graphic novel-inspired TV show you loved. Want to check it out? Help me grow my 3-panel comic strip of a channel into a publishing powerhouse by subscribing. And leaving a like is very appreciated. Gonna leave you a list with some honorable mentions. Thanks again for checking out my channel. Cheers!